What's up, everybody? It's Dave and RJ with the cream, and we're here with Delsean. And Del just did his very first deal. He just closed his very first deal, so we're pretty excited. And I'm excited for you guys to learn more about Delsean, more about his deal. But I just wanted to start this out by saying, as you hear in a lot of our content, you got to put the work in and you're going to get the results. And this is how it is in life. This is the raw truth of if you want to lose weight, you got to go on a diet. You want to build muscle, you got to lift weights. If you want to succeed in real estate, you have to put the work in, but the right work. And this is what RJ is big on and myself. RGAs. Delsean, why don't you fill in real quick? What does RGA stand for, sir?
Uh, you're gonna have to remind me of RGA
Revenue generating activities.
activities.
And that's pretty much, guys, it's analyzing deals, it's following up with sellers and talking on the phone. And a lot of folks that we meet, they're somewhat afraid to kind of do these RGAs because it could be a little bit intimidating, a little bit out of the comfort zone. And that's kind of what we coach on. Not only do we teach you how to analyze properties and do the real estate business, but being around us and this energy is going to give you the confidence to actually perform and do the right tasks every single day with repetition that's going to produce the results. And Mr. Delsean Littlejohn is somebody who's definitely done that. He has put the work in when it comes to talking to sellers, making offers, even raising the money. So today we're going to be learning a little bit about your transaction, your very first one. Congratulations and welcome to the call, Delsean.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about the deal you closed, how you found it, and what your experience has been like leading you up to kind of working closer with RJ and I.
I'll start with the deal. The I'm in Detroit. This deal is a duplex in St. Louis. We were able to acquire it for $160,000. We had a renovation budget of $50,000, and the after repair value is roughly $300,000. And I think it's a pretty accurate ARV.
There it is, right here. So, okay, and so this one you did this basically, virtually, right? And the action that I want to highlight that you took was to get connected with a buyer's agent, kind of investor-friendly buyer's agent that kind of knew what it kind of takes to be a real estate investor. So you're gonna run into agents and real estate agents that are more retail focused. They want to represent you and get your house listed on the market to sell it, and that's what they do. This particular agent was more investor, had a more of an investor mindset, and you found this person. Where did you find this person?
Actually, I found it through the person who I was going to partner with, and the person I was partnering with, he's acting as his own GC, and I found him because I was struggling through some credit issues, and I was looking for funding for these deals.
Gotcha.
Um, and in talking to him, I was very transparent in terms of where I was financially and exactly what types of deals I was looking for and how I make offers, because I make a lot of disrespectfully low offers in order to make sure I have I do a lot of conservative underwriting, and I want to make sure that I have the room for the renovation in case there's any surprises, and I want to be able to exit the hard money deal for the long term financing.
That's amazing. And so you're in our program. When you signed up, is the done for and with you program where we kind of walk you through getting into your first rental. And that was about, was that a couple months ago? How long have you been in our program now, Dell?
So we're in January right now. I think we midsummer
Midsummer,
or early,
right?
late spring, early summer.
And we got off to a quick hot start, right? We got pre-approved, then we ran into some issues with, like you were mentioning, some of the credit, and at that time, you were transitioning from your W-2 position into something else, right? Into another position. And so it was a kind of a hectic time, right? And so pre-approved right off the bat, a lot of stuff going on personally. How did you overcome that?
But it's like anything in life. When you kind of get hit with some type of obstacles, instead of just sitting there staring at the wall, you just got to find a way to get around or over the obstacles. And that's what I've kind of learned to do. And especially coming to a lot of your calls, it was a lot of motivation of don't sit around, make something happen, make something happen. And that's what I kept doing. I just kept going on the internet looking for additional lenders, looking for the lenders' requirements to see how I could fit them or get around them, and just kept pushing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things that hold people back is like they get stuck in this underwriting kind of phase that, how am I going to get the funding and what am I even getting myself into, you know? And you brought a lot of that to the call when we had our weekly calls. You brought in, some of the deals and plus the financing that was involved in these deals to kind of like, hey, this is kind of what I'm running into. What do you guys think? Right. And so we were able to kind of quickly sift through the good ones, the bad ones, because there were some ones that were charging either an arm and a leg points and interest, or they wanted everything under, your blood sample, all of your bank records, and it was just like a huge amount of red tape to get to the point of getting pre-approved, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and so thank you for putting this together too. It's kind of like a timeline of your journey getting pre-approved. So you kind of you were talking to this right here, and it looks like October. You were talking to the agent here, or you already had pre-approved at this point?
So I was pre-approved before the credit issues. Then I ran into the credit issues, and that's
Yeah.
when I was looking at the lenders more aggressively to say how am I going to do this now? Since I kind of had that life issue that went up. And I ran into this guy, which KJ on October 27th. We had that first conversation, and we started talking about, you know, my real estate experience, how we get deals done, and then he ran me into a couple of his lenders that would potentially approve me, and so I started to have conversations with those guys about the pre-approval process and about their loan requirements to see if I fit within their current requirements with my current situation, in which I did.
And so fast forward, they obviously approved you, right?
Right. Yeah,
And then
ended up getting two approvals with my credit issues.
how did you come about finding this deal? Was this sent to you from one of their contacts, or did you go about finding the motivated seller, or how did you come about getting this one right here in St. Louis?
So when I met KJ, he kind of introduced me to some of his wholesalers, and we were reviewing deals together to see if I was comfortable. We put a couple offers, but a couple of them got turned down, and then this was one of the agents that we were in contact with, and they were like, "Hey, I know you guys are looking for deals over the last month or two. Take a look at this one. If you like it, we're going to have to act fast." The good
Yeah.
thing, I partnered with KJ, and because we went through that process of underwriting those other deals, he was comfortable with the way I underwrote. I was comfortable with the way he could see the construction costs, and we meshed those two together, and we literally underwrote this thing in an hour and put out the offer.
Yeah, I like this deal. This is a brick duplex. Looks like there's two bedrooms per side. It's a side by side, looks like. And I'm just looking at the pictures here. It needed a little bit of updating, but you're saying here that it needed around 50-ish K in renovation, right? Per side. Or
That's what we estimated
25
with the lender.
with a lender. Okay. Okay. Looks good. And then I like this part too. This one has a garage. It looks like a two-car garage. Okay, so we're all in it. So our purchase price is 160, but what were they asking?
That was the asking, and that was the thing
They
when we
asking.
underwrote it and we lost the other couple deals. That was the quick debate: should we go in at offering, which we did, um, and then we put in the inspection clause, which normally we wouldn't. And luckily, we did. So we literally after they accepted the offer, we sent out an inspector the next day. The inspector said, "Hey, we might have a sewer line issue." And so we
Hmm.
sent out a sewer line inspector the day after, and we took that back to the seller and renegotiated for them to cover the closing costs.
Okay. And one thing to note, when you're buying older homes, which are built like 1950 and older, right? We prefer to stay over that, but sometimes you get a good enough deal like this. I like that it's brick. It's gonna hold its structure. But the sewer lines are so old, they're made out of clay. And what happens is if you have any trees around the property, those tree roots are going to go right into those pipes and then potentially break them. And then what happens is that the resident will have issues with plumbing. They're going to have backups in their tub and in their, sinks, and just it's going to be a nightmare. So then what happens is you got to like basically dig in either wherever the pipes are. So that can cost you, anywhere from 5 to 8 to even 10,000, depending on how far the connection is from the house to the city. So you did the inspection, Delsean, and then how did it go?
I was surprised, and again, because we used the agent that we used, he had all the connections, so scheduled that sewer line inspection the next day. So the speed was outstanding, and then for the turnaround speed to get us that report by, I think we put out the offer on a Thursday, had the inspection on a Friday, and then had the sewer inspected on Saturday, and I had the report on Monday afternoon.
That's fast. That's awesome. Okay, so they were asking 159. You guys came back with basically that price, right?
Correct.
And this had been on the market for about 30-ish, 20-ish days.
Yep.
Okay. Um, and this is the timeline here. So the lender that you used was this fund your next flip, right?
Correct.
And they're the type of lender that will fund, which is, kind of unheard of. It's 100%, unless you're using a private lender. But we've seen some smaller, regional lenders go with 100% purchase and rehab, right? So that
Yep.
they're funding basically all of this upfront. Can you talk about that? So I'm looking here. So they're going to fund 100%, and talk about the points and stuff like that.
Well, so the first one you're looking at is the first one that I went through, which was Longhorn, and Fund Your
Right.
Next Flip is who I actually I did the funding through. And so they were actually typically nobody was going to give me 100% financing if I didn't have the experience where I could document 3 or 4 HUDs of flipping these properties or exiting these properties. So they were aware that I was the first time. They were aware that I had a credit score that was below 680. They liked this deal. And they were actually funded me for 100% of the renovation, 100% acquisition, and 100% of the renovation. But the key was, compared to the other lender, was that they would allow me to pay the origination costs upon exit instead of upfront. And so that allowed me to, save my money for the prepaids to enter the deal versus having to come upfront with closing costs plus the origination, which would have cost me about 5 points for 5% of the entire loan.
Dave, what do you always say when you're working with a lender? What are one of the things that you look for when you're working with lenders?
It's a great question. So here's the deal. With a lot of new people, they get so caught up with the terms. Sometimes it's a high interest rate and sometimes points. When RJ and I first started, we were paying 13% plus 3 points and sometimes giving up half the deal. And, sometimes when you're first getting started, when you're building your credibility and you're building your business, you got to pay to play. And we've seen a lot of newer investors kind of shy away. Oh, I don't want to pay this much in interest even though they have a really good deal that they're still able to make money with, they shy away from doing the deal because of the interests, and they never actually get in the game. So, you know, if you find a lender willing to kind of work with you when you're first getting started, if you got to pay them a lot of interest and stuff, just get in the game, even, 50% of something is better than 0% of nothing, right? Get in there, build your reputation. And that's kind of what your plan is as well, Delsean, right? I mean, you have other lenders who want to see your track record that you're already going to approach after this one is already kind of done, and you're going to most likely get better terms on money. And that's kind of how you approached this, right, Delsean? It's like, hey, look, you're kind of paying through the nose on interest and fees and the whole deal, but you just want to get in the game, make a couple bucks, get your first deal under your belt, and then go back to the drawing board and get cheaper. Though the money only goes lower. The money only gets cheaper when you prove yourself. Is that kind of how you approach this thing?
Absolutely. So, getting my focus was getting into the game, and the access to the cash was key. And so, in with this particular project, I know that we could exit out of it pretty quickly. And so I really didn't care about the interest rate. I just needed access to the cash. And the biggest difference was between the other pre-approval and this one was getting into the deal. I could still conserve some of my cash in case I ran into any issues, and paying that fee upon exit versus paying it up front. But absolutely, it was get the first deal done so that I could build that track record, so that I could end up getting better funding resources later, and to start scaling this year.
And this is a
There you go.
key little lesson. If you're brand new and maybe you don't have the track record yet, build the track record and do it by just getting in the game. Find a lender. Yes, you got to pay a little bit more in interest and fees, but this is just a stepping stone to get you to where you want to go.
So we got it in. So you got a seller concession, which is normal in today's market. It's a seller's market, actually buyer's market. And so, how much was that concession did you receive from the seller?
It
Do you remember?
was 3%, and so that ended up being basically either the cost of the funding in
Mhm.
origination or the cost of the sewer line. And so that's what it comes down to for me.
One thing I want to also note is that you're not taking on a huge rehab here. Let me just scroll down to the pictures here. And one of the things that we really kind of harp on in our community, especially for somebody new or doing their first deal, is don't take on something that's so big of a rehab. You can get bogged down. It's kind of scary getting into something, especially if you don't have the experience. Now, we do have students that have been in construction all their lives, and even them, it's like, look, let's get something that just needs some updating,
And you
right?
guys know I'm a burn investor, and so I was always looking at projects that needed some rehab, and that was one of the concerns with the lenders too, was being a new investor is taking on a large project and uncovering issues or whatever. So I had to kind of pivot in terms of what types of properties I were looking for, so that I could get into the game.
Yeah, yeah. And so here, so right now, so you're kind of all in on this deal. They funded 100% of the acquisition, 100% of the renovation. But truly, your out of pocket was the earnest money, really, right? And then the insurance, was that put on the HUD too?
The,
2296?
the insurance I paid out of pocket because they wanted that prior to closing, in place prior to closing.
Yeah.
So that actually truly came out of pocket. Now, with the seller concessions, I think there was like a $27 line item for us to pay, and the title company was friendly enough that they said, "Hey, we're just going to zero this out." So I really did not have to come to the table with anything other than the EMD and the insurance money.
Gotcha. So $3,800, you were able to do the deal. Talk about this real quick. So the deal was purchased from a solo 401k.
Yeah, so because of my employment issue, there were some funds that I had left over for investing that I ended up having to live off of. And so I had converted all my old 401ks into a solo K, created a holding company and a solo 401k. So I used those funds to purchase for this purchase. And so with that being said, I know that everything that I make, all the proceeds from this project will have to go directly into back into that solo K, but that's just going to build my retirement, which was part of my plan in the first place. So just to get in the game, I was like, hey, let me use those funds. Let me get into this deal, even though I can't use this money to live off of, but I'm also building the retirement along with my experience.
Great. That's awesome. This is my first time actually knowing that. I didn't
Me
know that.
too.
That's awesome. So, like that. That's a little bit of an advanced little strategy, but I love that you did that. So you've got, let's talk about the actual loan itself. So, with this lender, you're getting a total of three construction draws, it looks like.
Well, we're getting probably a total of 6 draws, but we've done 3 draws to date. So let me go through the timeline. I, uh, I think we put out the offer on December 4th of 2025.
Yeah.
I ended up signing remotely on December 19th, which was a Friday. They
Hmm.
closed in person on December 22nd, uh, which was right before Christmas. We started demo on December 23rd, which was a Tuesday, put
Gotcha.
out a notice to vacate for the current tenant. And right now, as of this week, I think it was as of January 9th, we have the vacant unit completely renovated. So 17 days, including holiday, Christmas
Great
and
job,
New
man.
Year's.
Great job. Time. Hey, we'll go back to the expensive money. I don't think anyone would argue, hey, the money's a little bit expensive on this deal. Really lights the fire under you to move quick, though, doesn't it, Delsean?
The only thing that's holding us up, from probably getting this done in about a month is the fact that we just have to wait for the tenant to vacate the other unit. But even with that being said, I think that we've got a really tight six week schedule, so we should have the both units completely done by February 15th and probably leased out by that time.
How are you? Now you have a partner in this deal, right?
Correct.
And that partner has a GC license or GC experience.
GC experience.
Okay. And then you're getting the pictures and then the inspections from your partner and you're kind of inspecting what you expect, correct?
Exactly. So it's kind of, even though I didn't have the real estate experience, I was able to have conversations with him, and I was actually able to bring some things to the table where he was comfortable working with me.
Yeah.
And a part of the whole vetting process was, hey, send me all your old HUDs and let me review those. Send me your appraisals, and I did that before we actually did business. So I looked at the quality of work, and I actually talked to the title company. I talked to the insurance agents, and everybody was extremely happy with the quality of work that he was done. And so everything kind of synced up in
That's
terms of that.
great. That's great. So let's see here. So the next step, once it's completely renovated here, it's going to be what, next month? Um, and then you're going to get it rented. When does the refinance, when are you starting that process? Is it going to be
We're going
right
to
when
start
you
the
renovate it?
process about a week after we get access to the other unit, so that we can show the demonstration of the progress on the other unit. The other thing with that was, and the reason why we want to do that is because in each one of these units, it was a two-bedroom, one bath, and there was another room in there, another living room in each unit. And so we converted these to 3-1 units. And so when we go to get the DSCR lending, we can show, hey, these are 3-1s versus 2-1s. We can get higher rents, even though we demonstrated 2-1 comps for the value.
I love it. So, do you think on the refi, you're going to be able to get all the money that you need to pay your lender back and be into this deal with minuscule amount of your own money?
I think this is going to end up being a perfect BRRRR.
The perfect burr, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first, right from
So
Delsean. The
everything that I
perfect
put
burr.
in, yep, we're gonna get back out, and we might even have a couple $1,000s left over.
Uh-oh.
That's awesome. So we are looking at an ARV, okay, of 300 after it's all said and done.
And your loan
Yeah.
is for how much? What's your all in?
All in is 210 right now
There you go.
at 75%. So if I go with a 80% cash out refi, then there's a spread of roughly $30,000 that we could walk away with.
That buys more than a couple of tanks of gas and some Happy Meals, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we don't go to we don't go to Happy Meals, do we? We
Absolutely not. Fish fillet, McRib, none of it. That's terrible for you.
but we are going to invest into another property, and I just want to congratulate you on this first one because
Congratulations,
if
bro.
you're at 300, it's the after repair value of 300, you're all in for 210. What does
Correct.
that give you in net worth? About
Um,
90,000 dollars.
90,000 that split, so we'll just say cut it in half for $45,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Increasing it.
you lever it up to 250 on the refi. That cuts in 10K in miscellaneous fees and whatnot, and that's where you're getting your 30K left over, right?
Right.
I mean, pretty conservative, pretty straightforward. I love that your rehab crew is moving and shaking as fast. I love that you have the abundance mentality to look at JV opportunities. I love that you have the abundance mentality to not say no to money. Oh, they're charging me double-digit interest and some points. Oh, I'm not going to do this. Well, that is the attitude that'll keep somebody stuck, not you. Deals are
Mm-mm.
out there. You can make these deals work. You make your money when you buy, you get paid when you refi, sell, or rent, right? That's where you're collecting money. So time is on your side, or time is not on your side. Get it performing quickly, which you're doing. And I wish you could find, truly hope you find 100 more of these.
Delsean,
That's
what before this, were you in any other real estate ventures or real estate programs or anything?
so real estate. I owned real estate when I was in college, and then I moved away from college and remotely, and those things didn't really work out. And I didn't know about property management back then, so I ended up just selling. And I've been interested in getting back in the game ever since. And life happens, and every single time I said, "Hey, I'm going to get into it this year," or "I'm going to get into it this year," for some reason something did not happen. So there was those years that I was looking for mentorship or looking for funding or something like that. So I did join some other opportunities before I met you guys, and they just really didn't pan out. It was like, hey, we're going to do all this stuff for you, but really all it was, hey, we're going to give you access to a vault, and you're going to go through that at your own pace. And if you do something with it, you do something with it. You guys were more motivational and more helpful in terms of having the weekly calls, having the inspiration, and then if there was any types of troubles or something like that, you guys were willing to have the conversation to talk me through it or whatever. And actually having those as group calls, I got to hear everybody else's issues or troubles or successes, and I could use those, to help myself, or I could share anything that I was going through to kind of help everybody else in the group as well.
That's awesome. I do want to also highlight that you're a natural go-giver leader in our group because whenever you hear, whenever I was in a call and I would hear some other student or member of the group just, needing some help, you were always quick to lend a helping hand or give a resource. And that speaks a lot to your character. So we appreciate you doing that and continuing to do that, Delsean. And I mean, the sky's the limit now. You want to scale and get some more of these rentals under your belt and more experience.
Yeah. So,
And
like
it,
you said, for me, it was getting into the game and building that experience, and then I could demonstrate that experience to some private money lenders, and even one of the contacts that you guys directed me to, I could go back to that contact and say, "Hey, I've got my three HUDs now, and these are all remote, and I was actually able to get these things done, and I beat the timelines and I beat the budgets. Are you ready to lend?"
Yeah, and you also, I mean, the one thing that this program is, it's done for you and with you, and you took that, done with you to your first deal. Like you took the instruction and the recommendations. We're always active on the calls. I call you one of the usual suspects because you're always consistent in showing up, and there's always some sort of reason why you're not there, whether it's, you can't make it because you got a family thing going on, but you're there all the time, showing up, putting in I like to call the imperfect action moves, setting up these phone calls, actually following up with the phone calls, and then creating these partnerships. We didn't tell you how to do that. We made, it spoke about the good, bad, and the ugly of partnerships, and that rung a bell. But a lot of where you are from when you started with us, in the summer to where you are now is a lot of it's done by you. So that's amazing. Is there anything else that you want to let Dave and I know about this particular deal or in general?
Um, Not about the deal, but when you said that done by me, I did do a lot of the work, but obviously, if I wasn't inspired by the support that I got from you guys, I probably wouldn't have been able to push as hard as I did because that required confidence, and the confidence came from the knowledge, and then also if there was any gaps, it was like, hey, I've got somebody to talk about this that I trust. So go ahead and take that imperfect action and get things in motion.
Very important to do the work. That's kind of how we started this conversation. And we're big believers. You got to just get out there and do it. It comes from confidence, though, and you're going to build confidence when you're around other people who are doing it. RJ and I practice what we preach. We're preaching to you guys to get out there, analyze deals, raise money, make offers, and get them done. And we're doing it ourselves. In fact, I got a bunch of sellers to call today. In fact, when we first started the call, before we hit record, a seller called me. Didn't you hear, Delsean? We're still hustling hard. And if you're somebody watching this video and maybe you're new or you're rebuilding or you're looking to scale what you currently do, but do it appropriately and be around people who kind of been around the block, hop on in, man. The water's warm. We love working with you guys. I get more inspired, to be completely upfront with you, to do these calls with you, first deal, and work with you guys, help you guys analyze deals and see you guys cross the finish line than even ourselves. I mean, we closed two last week. We got more coming. There's always deals in our world, but it really makes me happy to see you guys be successful. Wouldn't you agree, RJ?
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats on this first one of many, Delsean. And if you have any questions about our program or about this particular deal or how Delsean did this, you can. This recording is going to be on our YouTube channel. Definitely give us a subscribe if you thought this was helpful. And if you have any questions about that program, definitely hit us up. Delsean. I appreciate your time today. Thank you for spending some time. I know you're busy. You're gonna get into another deal, hopefully soon here. I know there's some that you're looking at. There's some actually in our Slack community group that we're part of. But again, a lot of this wouldn't have happened if you didn't show up and just took the action. So applaud you again. With that being said, on behalf of
I
Dave,
just want to say one other thing,
yeah, go
kind of
ahead.
about this deal about your program. So, there's one thing about being a part of this type of a group or environment, and that's going to inspire you just to say, "Hey, I'm interested in real estate," or I can give you the confidence to say, "I can do this." There's another thing where, people say, "Hey, I'm going to do it, but I can only do it in my backyard." I did this 100% remote across the country with a guy I've never met in person. So anybody who thinks, hey, can you do this remotely or can I really do this? You can actually do this remotely. So join the group, get started, and start enjoying life.
There we
Uh,
go.
Thank you, Delsean. I will see you on Friday. I'm sure you'll be there, rocking and rolling, man. Congratulations on this particular deal, and cheers to many more.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.